Hello everyone, and we have some news today. So, Creative Assembly have just released a blog on Sea Lord Aislinn. This is going to give detail regarding him, his campaign mechanics, and also some of the unit details. Now, their blog, the one that they gave us, is a little bit broken, which is not great. So some images might be cut up a little bit here and there. But hey, we'll do what we can, right? So we've got some information here. Greetings all, welcome to the first installment of our Tides of Torment deep dives. In today's blog, we steer our attention towards the fortunes of Ulthuan and its noble people, the ancient race of the Asur. Or rather, let us look far, far away. For the adventures of Aislinn, Ulthuan's greatest naval commander, begins in the southern eastern quadrant of the Immortal Empires, in the waters of the Eastern Isles. Okay, so we got the start position there. So, yeah, it's where I predicted. It's the islands right next to Ind. It's the other side of the world from Ulthuan, but distance is no object to Aislinn's loyalty. Leading the High Elf Sea Patrol, Aislinn is about to uncover a Druchii plot to invade his beloved homeland, and only the commander of the fabled Dragonships has the naval expertise to counter this existential threat. Aislinn is the hero Ulthuan needs, though perhaps not the one its cultured and altogether privileged nobles desire. Aislinn the Pernicious, some label him, on account of the brutal zeal which he executes its office. However, his grasp of fleet tactics, shipboard discipline, naval assaults, and his command of the denizens of the deep put him above reproach. He is one of Ulthuan's greatest commanders, though given his reputation, maintaining the support of the influential elven lords when far from home is ever a challenge for him. Dragonships are no mere vessels. They are vast war platforms capable of developing their own infrastructure, mustering and housing many thousands of troops, transporting them at pace to precisely where they are needed. To meet and defeat the Druchii invasion, Aislinn will need to gather the rare resources required to build a fleet of these floating behemoths. This is no mean task. He'll need to curry favor with Ulthuan's greatest war leaders by capturing settlements and handing them over for stewardship in order to gain the vital assistance and unique benefits that each lord offers. Embracing the full freedom of the seas like no other, Aislinn's campaign is one of tremendous mobility. His forces perform lightning coastal strikes, capturing settlements and developing elven colonies and outposts, expanding Ulthuan's interests and enhancing his own capabilities and forces before the High Elf Sea Patrol tackles the Druchii invasion head on. Okay, bit of expedition and lore regarding what's going to happen here. I think it's pretty good to set the scene. So I imagine that we're going to get this for the other two lords too, which is pretty good. This type of narrative building is a great way to kind of hype people up, and now we know the full context of what is happening. This is, again, really, really good. So, campaign mechanics. Despite his naval focus, Aislinn's campaign is still one of limited territorial conquest. While he's the commander of his own dragonship, he must gather the rare resources necessary to construct a fleet of 5 such vessels, including his own. Wait, what? If it is the commander, why is he making one for himself if he should already have one? Alright, let's continue. In order to head off the Druchii invasion, to do so he must conquer enemy settlements and dedicate their ownership to the major elven lords Tyrion, Teclis, Alariel, Eliphanar, Imric, and Elfarion. Let's call them the Big Six for shorthand. Okay, so we're giving settlements to all of them. Interesting. I know some people are thinking, this is going to be similar to Nikai, but Nikai only dealt with one faction. This is going to be interesting to see what happens there, but let's continue. By doing so, he can win their support and enlist their aid in improving his own forces, as well as accessing powerful unique items and followers. So I guess faction effects and stuff? And while the settlements he captures become the property of the Elven Lords, he can still establish outposts and Elven colonies within them, developing each to amass the resources he needs to fulfill his duties. Building value and improving the outpost of his holdings, not every settlement is granted. Some are taken as colonies, and capable of outfitting and enhancing the new dragon ships while unlocking bonuses to many aspects of his campaign and battle gameplay. When he grants a settlement, he always becomes an outpost. When he captures one, it becomes a colony, but colonies are limited in number, making development a crucial strategic choice. Right, so we are going to own our own settlements. That should put the people screaming that this is going to be Nakai 2.0 to rest. I guess, yeah, it sounds really interesting. We're going to have to wait and see how it's played. I mean, limited settlement sounds very odd, but I guess it's so you're able to keep on making hordes and stuff. Because it does very much sound like this is going to be a very horde-focused campaign. But I guess we're going to have to see. Either way, it does sound fairly interesting. So we've got a tab called Asur Domination, where we can see colony dedication, outpost dedication, and dragonship dedication. All the lords are there. I do wonder how that's going to work. Do they still remain active when they're dead? Let's read over the section just in case if it says so. So Asur Domination is Aisling's singular focus. Conquering territory far from home, then returning that territory to the lords of Orthward. The benefits of doing this are all wrapped up in Asur Domination panel, accessible via a button on the top screen UI ribbon. Okay, cool. As Aisling captures and dedicates settlements to the Big Six, the outposts he constructs within them generate a new resource called dedication. See outposts and colonies below for further details. Yeah, we'll be doing that in a second. Dedication is the currency that you spend in the Asur Domination panel to upgrade various aspects of your dragonship, outposts, and colonies. It's where you go to unlock new dragonship and settlement building chains, increase your capacity to build new elven colonies, and a dizzying host of other campaign and battle benefits. Okay, so this is going to be increased capacity for your buildings. Yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds weird, but I guess until we get to see it in action, it just sounds a bit odd. Because you're going to have to use this resource for a lot, so you're going to have to micromanage a little bit. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, it's just, when it's written out, it just usually sounds worse than it is. The Asur Domination panel also represents Aisling's contact with the Big Six and tracks how many settlements you've handed to each of them. Okay, that's good. That's good, because it could be easy to get lost there. The more settlements you chuck their way, the greater gifts that they can offer in return. Each of these legendary lords can grant a significant rank, attributes, and other upgrades to your armed forces, as well as magic items, weapons, banners, and followers. There's a lot to explore here, as each of the Big Six offers benefits that are not only themed around them, but which enhance your forces in specific ways. Examining what they could offer in detail, then gifting settlements to the lords whose benefits riff most with your playstyle and unit preference can bring tangible benefits to your campaign and battles. For me personally, Alariel with a natural first choice for bestowing settlements upon. After giving her 6 settlements, she gives you the Dawnstone, a precious gem which grants the wearer 250 barrier hit points. Oh boy, that's not a lot though. Yeah, I guess they're just going with something generic there. Who knows who wrote this. I'm just hoping that there's no negatives, right? So if like I give a bunch of settlements to Tyrion and then I start giving settlements to Teclis, well, I hope that like, Tyrion doesn't get pissed off type of thing, right? Maybe they're just locked and that would be beneficial overall. It could end up with a lot of power play, but yeah, there's a lot to do here, I guess. Okay, so we got details on the outpost. There's a half an image, unfortunately, because this is a broken PDF that they sent. It's pretty weird. When Aisling or his admirals conquer a settlement, they can choose which of the 6 elven legendary lords to gift it to. However, they also retain some local building rights to further Aisling's cause. For the most part, you'll be constructing small resource-generating outposts in these settlements, but if you capture and hold one, you may instead establish a elven colony, a larger sub-settlement whose chief purpose is to generate dragonship supplies, a critical resource for expanding and upgrading Aisling's dragonship fleet. Outposts are 3-slot sub-settlements, with roughly half of their buildings focused on producing elven trade, a key resource for dragonship development. See below. Okay, there's a lot of see belows. Dedication points spent in Asur Domination, see above. Income and a small drip feed of dragonship supplies. The other half provide defensive and support functions, ensuring outposts remain secure while contributing to the wider war effort. On its own, a single outpost produces just a small amount of what Aisling will require. As he expands further and conquers more territory... Oh, okay, so it's going to be... Yeah, so the typical, right? It's a build-up thing, right? Think of it as like war effort supplies, like what happened with Ankiraj. It's like the whole World of Warcraft thing. It's basically just like the more you do, the more quicker it gets done, which is expected. Let's continue. Elven colonies are larger and more productive than outposts, with more building slots and a greater range of building chains. Aislinn is initially limited in the number he can build, though he can unlock more through Asur domination. I do wonder how many is the maximum that you can get, because I assume those are going to be like capital cities in a sense. These colonies are absolutely key to Aislinn's success, however, as they can generate a significant amount of Dragonship supplies and greater amounts of income. The number of Dragonship supplies they generate each turn is dependent on how much Elven trade Aislinn has generated in as many outposts. And the conversion rate from trade to supplies can be enhanced through building chain upgrades. So everything is going to be synergized. It does look like it's going to be a very structured campaign, which I think is kind of needed because Omen's, yeah, it was very much just charge, do damage, and that's it, right? So yeah, let's continue. Another major benefit of the Elven colonies is that they can become recruitment centers for Aislinn's navies, and can produce certain units which aren't available via Dragonship recruitment, such as Silver Helms, Alarian Reavers, and Dragon Princes. Okay, so the stuff that isn't really attached to the Sea Patrol. Okay, that's fine. So when a new dragon ship is constructed, mooring it up near a well-developed elven settlement is a great way to kickstart its army and quickly make it into a functioning war vessel, while its dragon ship begins developing its own recruitment infrastructure. Yeah, that's a good way of explaining it, to be honest. So that's not too bad. It's definitely better than what Nakai currently has. Well, Nakai has the bonuses that just becomes like faction-wide, but you know what I mean, right? Of course, as soon as Aislinn has set up another outpost or colony, he's in far too much of a hurry to stick around and defend it. Fortunately, both having building chains dedicated to solid garrison upgrades, and even if you don't really own the settlement, you can still manually defend it if it comes under attack. Developing these sub-settlements and enhancing the flow of resources they provide is the foundation for both Aislinn's progression and the growth of his naval might. Outposts generate Elven trade, Elven colonies convert this into Dragonship supplies, and Dragonship supplies can then be spent on constructing and developing Aislinn's fleet of Dragonships. Yeah, okay, yeah, very, very Chorf style, I guess. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works in campaign, because I think that it's quite important to get that information there. Overall, like, more structured campaigns is better. You know, this is a 10-year-old series at this point. People want more. And it's about time that Total War became a lot more detailed, I think. Okay, Dragonships. These images are unfortunately low quality because Creative Assembly sent it as a PDF rather than just a lossless file. So we'll have to rely more on the information. So the fabled Dragonships form the backbone of Aislinn's tale. These towering twin-hulled war platforms are capable of producing mighty armies and delivering them to battle. They're also exceedingly rare artifacts. As Aislinn's campaign begins, he helms the only surviving Dragonship. But through his drive of Asur domination and the generation of Dragonship supplies, he is able to construct more, each commanded by a named Helm Lord. With 5 such ships are completed and armed, he'll be equipped to face the Druchii invasion. Okay, so pseudo-legendary lords type of thing, kind of like how the Vampire Coast has it again? So let's continue. Similar to a Horde army, each Dragonship is capable of developing advanced building chains which unlock recruitment, growth, replenishment, unit rank, and experience, recruitment capacity, and much more. In short, all the kind of functionality and benefits you'd see within another faction's landlubber settlements. Okay, cool. So yeah, Vampire Coast style. This is going to be kind of interesting. Moreover, Dragonships provide their full unit recruitment options to any friendly vessels within their area of influence. It's well worth coordinating your fleet so that newly recruited lords or sea helms, okay, so you're going to have the pseudo-named ones, and then generic sea helms are going to be their own, can access a well-developed dragon ship's more advanced recruitment options. Like Elven colonies, this is a great way to kickstart new armies with higher tier units than they otherwise would have access to. Okay, yeah. I do wonder how money is going to be here, though. Because, like, some of these units are quite expensive, unless they're doing, like, a retool of the high elven cost for units and stuff. Each building in a chain requires Dragonship supplies to construct. Alright. So the development of your fleet moves in lockstep with your territorial expansion, as your main source of Dragonship supplies comes from the elven colonies you construct, and the elven trade, which is fed to them by your outposts. Okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, Early on, you're very much like secure. You're not going to be dealing with a lot of problems unless like Kairos decides to start trading settlements and so on. But yeah, if you're down there in those islands, I guess you've got a good start, and then you can just expand from there. Aisling's Dragonships are much more than floating horde armies, however. Okay, while it might be easy to conclude that they are the high elf equivalent of Druchii Blackhawks, they differ in some important ways. For starters, they are rarer and harder to develop, as they rely on dragonship supplies to construct and develop, as opposed to gold from your treasury. Using the missed landing stance, Aisling and his Sea Helm Lords can covertly disembark their armies to perform lightning strikes against enemy settlements by passing threats in between them and even raging further inland if they wish. Okay, so unlike Blackhawks, they're just going to be able to move on land. Okay, cool. All the Dragonship's infrastructure goes with them. Yeah, well, I mean, they're flying, so that's fine. And can be relaunched when the army reaches the coastline again, meaning that they aren't tethered to the seas in the same way as Blackhawks. Alright, yeah. Okay, that's a bit better. I was worried that we were just going to be locked into the ocean. This section is called a unique feature for Aisling's sea lanes. Aisling's masterful knowledge of the seas grants his navies access to sea lanes which others know nothing about. These enable the dragon ships to swiftly move around the world to locations where new elven colonies may be built, and snatching settlements from unsuspecting factions to hand to the Big Six before moving on to the next venture. To further enhance this, the dragon ships can be upgraded with much greater movement range and the ability to replenish action points after using sea lanes or winning battles, giving them tremendous level of mobility. Altogether, the dragon ships grant you access to uncommonly speedy global movement. That's really good, and I hope it gets put into the whole thing with the Black Ops in the future, because, yeah, very useful. Very, very useful, I guess. You're going to be able to move around very, very quickly, and yeah, we've got the an image there which basically shows the start position, which is cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to see what's going to happen here, right? In terms of, could you just basically keep moving like Skarbrand or Taurox? I mean, you're going to have to wait to have like a decent lineup of like pirate ships and so on in front of you. But yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. There's a section on mislanding, but unfortunately the image is just broken. But basically it's just, yeah, you can go on land and you get movement range and so on, which isn't too bad. It also gives you extra defense and speed to your armies. And it looks like Aisling's starting army is going to be fairly decent unless anything changes. But I see there, well, I'll be able to see more if the cat moves off the screen. There we go. 2 ships company, 2 Lothern Sea Guards, 2... Is that the Skycutters? That's the generics, I guess. And a unit of Oceanids. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to start, isn't it? Okay, so we have details regarding the roster now and just some basic renders and stuff. We've seen already the renders before for Sea Lord Aisling, but he is confirmed to have a dragon because that's one of the images. So let's go into the details there. Between their movement range, upgrades, and access to Aisling sea lanes, dragon ships can move around the world pretty damn quick, but Aisling, as Ulthuan's most experienced Sea Lord, leaves your average dragon ship captain in the dust, or should that be surf? At any rate, his base trait, Protect of the Seas, grants him a massive campaign movement bonus while at sea, and that's beside from any other campaign movement bonuses conferred by his other skills, dragonship upgrades, Asur domination benefits, or embedded heroes. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of potential upgrades to movement, which is good because the seas are very large in Warhammer in certain areas, and it takes a while to get from place to place, even with sea lanes like there. The same trait also reduces the upkeep for any ship's company units and aquatic beasties in his army, buffs missile strength by a whopping 20% for his ranged units, and gives him the iron-handed captain ability, which he uses to bellow at and instantly rally a routing unit. I wouldn't hold the 20% thing to gospel until we get to the last point of early access periods and so on, because stuff can change. I'm saying this because it's happened before. So, yeah, don't get mad and so on. He's a capable all-rounded melee combatant, gaining access to a Lothern Skycutter chariot for added punch and mobility. Yeah, that's going to be a mount option. And has a unique host of skills themed around his naval focus. Complementing his Protector of Seas trait, his skills grant a rising series of buffs and bonuses to Oceanids, Merwyrms, and ship's company units. No Sea God? Combined with the further bonuses to these units found in the tech tree, Dragonships, upgrades, and Asur domination, these units soon become must-haves, particularly in the case of Oceanids and Ships Company, which begin life as fairly average early game picks. The final trick up Aisling's sleeve is his new right, Invocation of Mathland, as well as providing buffs to Ships Company and Sea Monster units. This prayer to the Lord of the Storms and Sea has also a chance of resurrecting any High Elf units destroyed in battle. Wow. And returning them to full health. Oh, okay. Wow, that's actually fairly impressive. Obviously, it's a chance, but I wonder if that's going to work faction-wide or just Lord-wise. Huh. Yeah, it means that you could be a bit more risky in terms of battle. Very cool. Okay, we got the Sea Helm now. I'm so excited about these guys. They're one of my favorite models from the tabletop. Oh, wow, they look great. It's the helmet. I think it's just... They've always been one of my favorites. I've got a few painted up. I think I've posted them on Twitter before. It's like red and white paint scheme to follow my army theme. But yeah. Experienced mariners and proud leaders, Sea Helms are the nautical lords who serve under Aisling as his fleet captain. The Sea Helm skill tree provides access to a Great Eagle and Skycutter chariot and enhancements for some of those key units which can be recruited from the Dragonships. However, each Sea Helm can also focus such benefits around specific units in the greater High Elf roster that you may choose to include in their armies. By dedicating a Sea Helm to one of the 3 gods in the Elven Pantheon, they can grant useful bonuses to Ships Company, Lothern Sea Guard, so that's for Mathland, Spearmen, Rangers, and Archers, Isha, and Dragons with a day off. Okay, that's not bad, yeah. So you do get like a lot of bonuses. I do wonder if they're going to still be hordes if used with generic stuff. I assume they can still be used with like the other legendary lords. Or if they're just going to be like normal armies. Which is fine if they're normal armies, to be honest. When it comes to like playing as Tyrion or whatever. But yeah, cool. Caradryan is the legendary hero. I'm just going to put the image of the actual image of the character and so on. And his very unique looking mount rather than the text. So, Caradryan, the chosen of Asurian and the captain of the Phoenix Guard, joins Aisling in his defense of Ulthuan. Extolling the virtues of the Phoenix King himself, Caradryan is a powerful addition to your forces, whether acting independently or bolstering one of your armies with his considerable martial prowess. All this he achieves without uttering a word, for his vow of silence must never be broken. Nice. Okay, some people are going to be like, if you're not used to Warhammer lore, like he's completely silent and so on. So I'm expecting no voice lines whatsoever, which is going to be amazing. Maybe like they growl or something, but even then, like no words. So riding the legendary Frostheart Phoenix Ashtari into battle, Caradryan wields the mighty Phoenix Blade, which grants him flaming attacks and significant bonuses to regular and armor-piercing damage. As you might imagine, any Phoenix Guard he serves are empowered by his presence. Okay, yeah, good. Through Caradryan's unique skills, a range of enhancements can be unlocked, including ward saves, magical attacks, bonus weapon strength, and the unbreakable trait for any Phoenix Guard units in his army. Oh boy. Phoenix Guards and Phoenixes in his army also get a chance to rise from the ashes if destroyed in combat, and if wounded himself, his recovery time is considerably reduced. So what I imagine here is it's going to be, if he buffs up Phoenix Guard a lot, it's going to be like how they were in the tabletop. If you played 8th edition, you might remember when people used to bring those blocks of 30 Phoenix Guard, which were absolutely fucking terrifying. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. It's going to be just one army, so yeah. So we've got the Mist Mage as the new generic hero. Masters of the new lore of Mist, Mist Mages manipulate the weather around them to wrong-foot the enemy, enhance capabilities of themselves and friendly units in battle, or summon units of elemental Oceanids directly into battle. The lore of Mist is more of a support lore, focused around buffs and debuffs to elements such as vigor, speed, resistances, and leadership. The Mist Mage's unique Cloak of Dew skill improves their resistances and grants them the Wayfarer trait, enabling them to zip around the battlefield very quickly, even quicker than when you mount them on a Great Eagle or Skycutter. Really? Huh. I guess that's going to be like a teleport? Weird, right? Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see for that, but that sounds pretty interesting. Because if they do that, then if we have teleports in any way, shape or form, then where is Skitterleap for the Skaven? I'm just saying. Alright, Ships Company now. The rank and file of Aisling's navies. Ships Company is a tier 1 infantry with average melee stats, but reasonable armor, and they have shields too. They also have the aquatic trait, so aren't fussed when fighting in watery environments. If only there were more maps for watery environments though, I guess. However, with the many tweaks, buffs, and enhancement that Aislinn, the Sea Helms, Asur domination technologies, and the Dragonships themselves grant to ships company units, over time they begin to punch well above their weight, implied by their low recruitment and upkeep costs. Okay, so they'll basically just turn into like chosen style units. Makes sense. Like you're going to be using these as like a real important unit, so I guess that makes sense. Oceanids, and you can tell how like rushed Creative Assembly are lately because the blog doesn't have an image. It just has image 11 Oceanids. This is typical during these periods, by the way. It just happens. The smaller of Aislinn's Sea Elementals, Oceanids are Sea Elementals that perform a solid anti-infantry role. They're great for pinning enemy units in place, and with their high weapon damage, they punch hard. Like the other elemental units, they will never rout, but so the elementals are going to be, they're going to crumble, which, yeah. And we'll talk about the Sea Elemental at the same time. The huge Sea Elemental is a terrifying creature to behold. While unarmored, it has many resistances and immunity to contact effects. So cool. The two nastier tricks up its sleeve are its Wound Hex, which passively debuffs the strength and speed of units it's engaged with, and Split Up, a summon ability which calls a unit of Oceanids to the field. Cool. When their summon units fall to 25% health, they explode, costing a nasty burst of splash damage. Pun fully intended. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, so like if you're dealing with choke points and stuff, these are going to be very, very useful. And there are a decent amount of maps with choke points, so yeah. The Merwyrm looks great, and we've got some information here. A colossal regenerating slab of missile-resistant terror. The Merwyrm is normally the sort of thing that would keep a sailor up at night. Thankfully, Aislinn and the Sea Helms have a kinship with these beasts, so they're a great addition for any Dragonship army, dealing a whopping 700 armor-piercing damage, coupled with the anti-large trait. Their preferred target is clear. Other big monsters. Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, you're going to be dealing with a lot of big monsters. There's a lot of big monsters being added constantly into the game. And you're going to be, well, there, it's quite close to, like, the Chaos Dwarfs and stuff, so it makes sense. It looks great. It's about time. No word if they're for the Vampire Coast, so I'm assuming not at this point. And finally, we have the Skycutter. So these Eagle-born chariots come in two flavors, crewed with bowmen or fitted with Eagle Claw bolt throwers. Both can fire while moving, which sounds incredible. Because like the bolt thrower being a mobile artillery piece is wild. Like, yeah, again, tabletop stuff, insane, right? Which makes the bolt thrower variant in particular a massive upgrade over its lumbering ground-based forebear. Packed with some of these marvelous contraptions in your army, and you'll be able to precision target troublesome enemy units while keeping the Skycutters well out of harm's way. I'm imagining that they're going to be like the tabletop variant where they should be viable also in combat for melee, so that should be cool. Now, they do have gameplay showcase coming out tomorrow, and they're going to do something on T'Challa herself, so that's good. They're starting to like really push stuff out. That's a great thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Aislinn. I'm excited. It's a character which a lot of people want, and these are units that I've been wanting for a while. The more Forge World stuff, the better. Because, you know, like we had them there for the tabletop, and we've got them now for Old World again, so it's nice. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Start a bit of discussion. I do apologize if I sound a little rushed. I am still like sorting out the last of the details for the move, and yeah, it's going to be interesting, that's for sure. See ya.